Hello everyone, this is Fantastic Worlds, welcome you back to Lovecraft Country and the Secret World Interludes, where we take a deeper dive into the backstory and background of the Secret World. And this time we're tackling Kaiden, the district of Tokyo, which of course was the ground zero for the detonation of the Filth bomb that started this whole game. And just below my feet, as you recall, is where the bomb went off, because this is where you enter into the section. And of course it's the birthplace of John. I try not to think about it too much because that kind of brings up the whole dark womb and yeesh. I don't want to think about anything about John, really. I mean, one of the things about John you realize is that the guy is the opposite of the Buzzing Collective. With the Buzzing Collective, there are thousands of us all interacting and working together. He's alone in the void, and frankly, that's why he's so desperate to have friends. And, you know, screw him. Anyway, so you'll notice about this district is that it is literally overwhelmed with advertising. Now, these are all primarily ones that are connected to either the Morning Light or Oriochi. Technically, Morning Light is a subdivision of Oriochi, but I'm kind of sitting it apart a bit for that. And as you can see, the Oriochi tanks, which were an ineffective attempt to try to prevent the Filth spread, which must have been launched from the tower, are, well, first over there and scattered, other remains scattered across. That's the one where Buster lives over here. And this is... as you can see, his lights are still on. Now, the reason why he's not dead, although he's severely crazy, is that he was smart enough to figure out that if you disabled the electronics in the tank, that removed the ability for John to affect the stuff. But let's let the poor dude describe himself.
It all used to be so simple. My father was a German military man, my mother a Polish housewife. I was raised to be a practical man.
I could believe it. Anyways, due to the sound on this, I'm going to try to shift audio a bit. I can barely hear it myself, and I know I have it downgraded here. So, yeah, dialogue's already at maximum. I'm going to pump up the master volume and then reduce music and sound effects. It should be able to do it. Background music, ambience, sound effects. I'll have to restore it later. Okay. No, it seems to have been okay. All right. Let's see if we can get a better reception, as it were.
I am a simple man. I believed only what I could run over or obliterate.
Typical armor.
Give me a road to patrol or a building to destroy, and I get the job done every time. I have faith in my task and my gear.
Typical soldier. Did we have... Okay, I'm not sure what that was. You know what it is, you're in a place overrun by filth-infected individuals. You get weird noises.
No more. They transferred me recently from Cologne, Germany. I've come here where nothing makes sense.
Yeah, you and me both. Well, I didn't come from Cologne. Now, the thing is about that, by the way, is that... make an adjustment here, just in case you're having trouble with that. I'm temporarily boosting all of the audio. Okay, so yeah. The thing is that you have to remember something. He is not a soldier now. He could have been a soldier in the hang on, let's get that buzzing at the moment. He could have been a soldier in the regular military in Germany, but right now he's a private military contractor, which is what happens when a lot of people muster out of the military. They get snapped up by a corporation, in this case Oriochi, or things like the former BlackRock. I can't remember what it's called these days. Eric Prince's outfit.
Against me. My gear turned against me.
No. Oh, Spitter.
My tank turned against me. I have lost my religion in this place.
Well, we must give up our old modes of belief in order to accept new ones. Would you have a moment to speak about your Lady and Savior Gaia?
Have I lost my mind too? My commander said as much this morning. But what does he know? He might not even exist.
Okay, when your hallucinations are calling you crazy, you've gone pretty fucking far. All right, let me tell you about tell me about this place.
This is not a tank driver city. The streets are crowded, narrow. The enemy is everywhere and nowhere. No amount of training could prepare me for this mad maze.
This is what you get when civilians are the ones running the operation. Because let me tell you something. Okay, he's absolutely right. Urban conflict is a fucking nightmare because you have all of this cover, all of these zones, all these confined sections. Armor is a sitting duck. He would have been better off actually using, you know, armored helicopters, like the Apache style, to be able to move in and out and to use the tops of the buildings as safe zones temporarily. Now, granted, they'd be shooting out with the birds, but there's probably a lot less birds than there are these freaking hordes overrunning everything. But not that it would have made any difference, because John would have shut them down too. Can you even fly any military vehicle these days without using electronics?
I was a foreigner, out of my element. The moment I set foot here.
Okay.
1 minute I was rolling through the downtown core. Then, a searing pain. Brain boiled under a laser.
Mm-hmm.
The instruments, they lit up in ways I have never seen. My baby, my tank, she went insane. She stopped responding.
John or lowest bidder? Hello?
There is no exit in this maze.
Not for you, I'm afraid. Odds are he's already been totally infected and cannot be lifted out, a lot like people in Kingsmith. So, yeah. There's not really much we can do for him.
The buzzing voice does not stop. Then another voice came. The black signal.
Wait.
The two voices, they do not like one another.
Holy shit, that means Kurt might have once upon a time been of a line that was suitable for bee possession, but the bee can't get to him in here. Not just the tank, but the filth itself. So it's basically, what, tried to contact him without a bee, get him to a point where he could get infiltrated, and then John intervened? Well, he's probably too far gone to use anyways. Alright, tell me about the filth.
The enemy gets into everything. Everything.
It's a virus.
We never saw them coming. Not even my gunner, Edward. I used to envy his sharp eyes.
He's telling me you don't have him in a jar. That's my actual fear.
On the first day, the enemy took us unaware.
That was 18 months ago, okay?
On the third day, Edward tore out his eyes.
You still do have him, don't you?
He smiled. He said he could see the enemy now. He said they were so beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and you shot him. And I actually approve of this, because odds are he was getting infected.
I detest asking questions. The recruiter liked that about me. He liked it an awful lot.
Yeah, the problem with that, kiddo, is you're disposable to them, and they disposed of you. There's literally nothing can be done to save you, because they put you in this ridiculous tank. I mean, let's face it, it looks cool, but first of all, those are railguns or lasers. It doesn't really matter. They're completely inappropriate for any fighting within this zone because they would actually blow through any cover here. And there's no machine gun, so therefore there's nothing to take care of the any small units like those thousands of filth. Excuse me. Dude, I am monologuing and I do not appreciate this. Oh, for crying out loud. Chill. Oh no, I'm seeing lag. If this is a problem, I'll just move to the point where it's not. Okay, well that happened. Alright then. I need a shower now. Kurt? No, he won't let me in. Anyways, is there a shower in that thing? Because there really should be. But yeah, the thing is that it's complete toy. I mean, this is the sort of thing that, of course, the people designing weapons want to do because it costs a lot of money, looks impressive, and, you know, it looks damn good on a magazine cover. But if you want real weaponry, what you want to do is you want to talk to people who've been fighting guerrilla wars for 30 years. They'll know how it works. Anyways, as you can see, the entire area over here has been infested, and it seems to be climbing upwards rather than outwards. So it's approaching the sun. And if you recall, dreamers love to say, oh, we're going to eat stars. The sun is a star, and hey, spark the light, as it says up there. In any case, guys, I'm not interested. Oh, for crying out loud. Anyway, so this is kind of what I see as the central square of Kaiden in this area. As you can see, it's got the Foss Capital Bank, which is the root of all evil. And, you know, one of our missions, the bank heist, was there. King Mart, etc. Yeah, you're supposed to stand in this place and just be awed by the sheer number of advertisements, have them drill through your brain and tell you what you should have, what you should be buying right now. Now, there's only about a dozen of these advertisements being repeated constantly, but I actually don't think that's unrealistic because most advertising just relies not on trying to convince you through any particular type of ad, but completely repeating one or two or three phrases constantly. Now, over there is a section we went into last episode with the where the three main factions control, so let's head over in this direction. Now, the thing is, the urban density and sameness of the city, yeah, that pretty much matches what I remember about Tokyo. The thing about it is that, hi guys, it tends to be this sort of dichotomy. Oh, for crying out loud, I'll be right back, guys. Okay, so let's try this again. Anyways, yes, there's the dichotomy between the manicured green areas and the dense urban areas was definitely a feature that I also felt when I was there. Excuse me. As well as the well-designed pedestrian architecture. It's one of those cities where I don't think they expect everyone to have to drive. Which is frankly a lot saner than American cities are at times. I mean, swear, if you go to Boston, you still got roads that are based off cow trails. Anyways, so yeah, and this would be, of course, Tokyo Harbor and the pier. So the thing is, the pier itself during the usual time is going to be stocked full of, you know, these booths and bazaars and such. At the moment, it's the beachhead for a very failed demonic invasion, because as you can see, they don't get very far into the city, because the demons from the Oni, they're weaker than the Filth. The Filth, after all, is a type of infectious reality, and it's entirely possible that the Oni are going, damn, why did we pick now to invade? I mean, they're literally the scavengers of the pack. But as you come over onto the western side of the harbor, past all these destroyed booths and such, you'll note that...
assignment received. Initializing.
Oh, you want me to kill Oni? Fine, I'll kill some Oni. But yeah, you'll notice that the government blew out the bridges to get to Tokyo proper across the harbor. But, as you can see, we've got some leakage all over the place. Okay, fine. I'm sorry about this. I'm getting paid to do it. Okay. Oh, wait. Opener of... Okay, there's a boss here. Sorry. Getting distracted. Really should get back to the details. But yeah, any case, as you can see over here, by the mission we ended with Ricky Pagan, for example, has on that section the leakage for the filth coming directly off of it and creating what he called a persona of corporate greed. Well, this makes sense in some fashions. Oh, there's the Hellgate. It makes some fashions that the majority of these filth spots are created by, of course, Oriochi, and Oriochi is attempting through Samael to purify filth back into anima for your fuel source, which I think is incredibly dangerous because the stuff, like I said, is a adaptive reality virus. Is that you? Okay, cool, we can do this. Oh, I don't even have my... I should really put on my usual one. I've been kind of goofing off with the one of my favorite secondaries. But if we're going to do a bounce battle... Oh! Whoa, well played, well played. Do you know I have a 360 attack? Why is there a portal here? Are you summoning people? You know, dude, honorable combat used to be a thing. Just, you know, what you can expect from demons. I never quite get away in that one, but it's not like I really have to worry too much about it. I set things on fire myself. Ah, excellent. Sorry, got distracted. I do that a lot. And I'm on fire again. In any case, yes, there's the hell portal that leads to the sewers for one of our missions, but as you can see, we have both the filth and the sewers simultaneously. I mean, it's filth from the sewers and the hell escape simultaneously, which is great, guys, great. Doing fine. That, of course, leads back up to the section behind the bathhouse, the Hell on Earth bathhouse. has Amanda translate it for me, which is quite nice of her. But let's take a quick breather on the other end of the park. As you can see over there, there's a formal shrine. Unfortunately, I don't know the architecture or the mythology well enough to be able to describe it to you, but it's also the layer section, so I will not be going over that at this point because I don't have the item strength to be able to handle it. Most of the layers I will tackle if there's an opportunity, but I'm going to have to be significantly stronger than I am, as I am not, in fact, I'm not sure, patron, I think would be the best to put it, of this account. I'm kind of running on a free one, which means that I kind of have to just scrape by with what I can get from grinding, which I'll give the game credit. You can go through the main story with just grinding and you'll be absolutely fine. You just have to be really efficient, and, you know, so long as that works out for you, you can do it. It's one of the reasons why I recommend this game if you're a casual and you just want to check out the story and do some interesting things. Now, keep in mind, this game really has been updated since 2015. I don't see it actually getting greatly updated again, period, unless there is some serious change in the new Funcom. Well, Funcom was just purchased, I've mentioned that before. The new management, as it were. There's been no sign of that, unfortunately. In fact, these guys haven't even bothered to turn off the winter caches, and it's now June. So, yeah, I'm thinking that this is probably just being left run on its own. In fact, there was no anniversary special this year either. Went right through it. I was kind of hoping to celebrate. But in any case, this over here, of course, is Ganesha Park, which I'm probably pronouncing horribly. You'll have to forgive me on that one. And it contains the gateway to Agartha, and it is obviously the highest concentration of Gaian energy, guarded by a priest of Gaia, Ricky Pagan. But if you'll excuse me, you'll notice that there's problems here. The power is keeping them away, but it's only keeping them 100 yards away. These are, of course, infected deep ones, but of course the water spilling into there means that they infects the sea life, which is going to be really great considering that Japan is a country that heavily relies on seafood. But there's Agartha, and hey dude, how you doing? Have fun storming the tower. If you want to chill, fine. But yeah, let's talk to good... I'm doing fine. How are you doing? I wonder if does he change for gender in that one? Because that'd be cool if they did that. Anyways, let's talk to Ricky and get his point of view on... Oh god, Rockabilly. This is going to be an interesting one to do so. I really love the voice actor's take on this. Hey dude, how you doing? Dude, I think this guy thinks I've got the camera going. Oh wait, no, wait. Does this guy's face is identical to mine? It's cool. Alright, so go for it.
Before you stands one charged by Amaterasu and blessed by Gaia. Ginpachi Park's bequeathed, leather-clad environmental vigilante. Put in the pomp, in Papador, Ricky Pagan.
Amaterasu, by the way, is a earth goddess. Probably not Gaia herself, but one of Gaia's children, so to speak. The sort of branched down before. So it's kind of an idea that I've talked with a couple of friends about that. The idea that there is the divine infinite power requires being stepped down one section at a time in order to be able to be accessible to entities like humans without, so letting them blow up. Because, you plug yourself into infinite power without a proper grounding. Oh my god. Next thing you know, you're subatomic particles.
But I wasn't always. Once upon a time, I was young Ryuichi Sagawa. I believed in three things: Elvis, environmental activism, and Batman.
It shows.
Then I found rockabilly. Then I started grooving on the edges of this secret world.
Yeah, you become a magician, the world gets a little bigger.
The rockabillys and me, we'd strut our stuff on Sunday afternoons. Then we'd reconvene after dark for the real work. Non-violently resisting the encroachment, the urbanization, the growth of the monsters of the corporate id.
Gaia is Antifa.
Orochi took notice. Orochi summoned the Fuzz. They came to clean us out of the park. So we went underground. Down deep, baby.
So next time you talk about, the violent thugs being arrested and attacked by the police, keep in mind it's just that's just what the corporate media wants you to believe.
Ginpachi Park is Ricky Pagan's line in the sand. The enemy shall not cross. This is the last spot of soul in this worm food city. Ricky Pagan shall protect every shrub, every blade of grass. This has been Ricky Pagan's mission from way back.
Well, remember, Gaia is like the queen bee in assigned task, and Pagan, even though he's not a full bee, because he can talk, and that is an assignment assigned from Gaia to protect this portal, and he is the empowered. We've seen edges of that before to be able to do so. I doubt he can throw lightning bolts, but he probably has the ability to suggest, you know what I mean, to bend people's attention away from the park by personifying it. Because you don't want to imagine what Oriochi would do with a portal of Gartha. They just put a huge reactor next to it and then blow up half the city.
I remember the day.
The other half.
Earth Mama, she was a screaming. I saw a vision of Amaterasu, beehive hairdo bouncing as she crawled out of the sakura trees.
Oh, that's an image.
That's the day I became Ricky Pagan.
Gaia sends out the distress signal and calls in her children to protect her.
Ricky Pagan gathered his crew, a new gang, to spread Western Bob, protect the park, and preach rockabilly resistance in the shadow of the Orochi Tower. Rockabiri for rifle.
I don't know what that's supposed to mean in the native tongue, but I'm sure there's some minor pun I'm not getting.
The city's hurting, man. There's bleeding vital mojo everywhere. The city's infected. The bomb pushed it all over the edge. Boom, 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 that awful sound.
Mm-hmm.
How did the bomb get here? Ricky Pagan has his theories. Ricky Pagan suspects purple treachery.
You'd be correct about that, because if you recall, purple is the faction of the mercenary. The color of the mercenary faction. God, why am I blanking on them? You know who I'm talking about. To the idiots in purple that we keep running across who think that's a really good idea to try to end the world because somebody's paying them to do so. It'll come to me in about 4 minutes.
Ricky Pagan's crew is not the only gang strutting their stuff in Tokyo. 3 more gangs remain. The samurai, the demons, and the gangsters.
Ooh, let's see what his view on these are.
Ricky Pagan can't quite say he trusts them all, but Ricky Pagan will ride alongside anyone who fights the filth.
You got it.
Their reasons are their own.
Absolutely correct. Allies are not people allies are not friends. They're just people you have common goals with. I've said that before, and one day those goals will diverge.
Ricky Pagan became aware of the hidden world of Mojo sometime way back. There's an extra dimension. We're all just spirits doing time in the flesh, and that time is limited.
Ooh.
So, what say you and I waste no time and get to
Sorry, I've been converted into a drone. It's one of the reasons he's not a bee, by the way. As I pointed out, the Gaia seems to have certain lines that she'll pick from, high potential. So therefore, she can't be everyone because she'll have to produce the next generation, and we know there will be another generation because we've seen the future of Mars. Not quite sure Earth looks like at that point, but it doesn't seem to be much different, which kind of makes me think that this whole thing caused a little bit of a setback. Maybe they lost about 50 years of development and took that much time to come back.
It happened in the 1950s. We were all still ash and radioactive angst. The West still occupied us. And then, out of the ash came rockabilly. Artists like Masaki Hirao, Kijiro Yamashita, and Mickey Curtis gave us life.
You don't recall? Yeah, Japan is the only country that has suffered 2 nuclear attacks. We took out Hiroshima and we took out Nagasaki, and millions of people died. Millions more will die. I mean, straight up from few from straight up attack, the rest from the radiation and contamination of the food supply. And there's probably still areas that are a little bit hot, and it really does a lot to the national psyche when that sort of thing happens. I mean, just imagine waking up one day and finding out, the 2 cities, say Houston and New York, just so we can get both sides of the political equation here. Just boom, gone. Everybody you knew in there, dead. Everyone around it, dead. I mean, dying. And then, the Chinese or the Canadians or whoever invade us, who drop the bombs, come in and hold the area and tell you how terrible you are, and then press you for 10 years before they get bored and walk away. They probably needed something to make it feel like they had to take part of that culture and make it their own.
The music, fast-paced, sexually charged. It brought the walking dead youth back to life. Broke off our shackles of heritage. The old ways brought devastation. New ways were needed. And so the original rockabilly gangs formed.
What he's talking about, of course, is the imperialism that... Yeah, I've been watching a series called War 2, which does the real war in real time, reporting everything from the human atrocities to the battles. And one thing about that they've gotten quite through, especially with some of their side episodes, and frankly, you should check it out if you have any interest in history. World War II, that's the name of the actual channel. One of the things they very much pointed out is the mentality of the time, with their complete imperialism. The idea that the emperor was basically their representation of the divine, and that their culture was superior, and their destiny was to control all of Southeast Asia, at least, and toss out all foreign people, and then everybody that they were occupying that were kind of like them would immediately be happy about it and serve them as virtual serfs. It didn't work out that way. In fact, they're real timing in 1943 right now, where they do occupy a significant portion of it before the Battle of Midway and the return back and the fallback. And nobody's particularly happy about it except I think Thailand. I think Thailand like tried to work with them or something like that. Anyways, it wasn't Thailand at that time either.
The stars that burn twice as bright, baby. Well, they burn twice as fast. The authorities shut it all down. Rockabilly went dormant. But it woke up again. I found it in the 90s. I took up the call. I gathered the pagans.
There's nothing like nostalgia.
Once again we rise from the ashes. We the people can die, but the spirit endures. Rockabilly for life.
And endures. I mean, right now the pagans are down to him, but he's going to survive this. He's going to re-recruit. Gaia will resume under the Emma's under Emmy's tutelage, and it will happen all over again. I mean, that's the thing about time. If you study history for any length of time, you'll find out it's a flat circle of cycles. I mean, from 7000 BCE, I can pretty much tell you how everything goes. Basically, a bunch of people just live their lives, an empire arises, it expands, a whole bunch of technological improvement and horrific human suffering. And then it collapses.
Assignment received. Initializing.
And now we're into the suburbs. Seriously, though, you'll notice, by the way, the same pattern when it comes to all of the filth. They want the higher levels, leaving the lower ones for that, which is, again, makes you believe that they're actually actively seeking sunlight. Now, this section, of course, has a lot of spirits. Now, spirits are different from the filth in that doesn't seem to be able to affect spirits. These are all people who died horribly in the bomb, and yeah, there are a few exceptions. And I can't rest. So they end up essentially repeating patterns over and over again, and every time they come across the living, they try to kill them out of, well, jealousy. Now, if you've ever seen the original film, Pulse, not the American one, but the original Japanese one, it's particularly terrifying, and it's how it represents sort of this life as a form of undeath, that undeath itself is almost identical to it, where they end up repeating the same patterns over and over again. But yes, now we're dealing with the cemeteries, which have a particular interesting class of vampire, the Kyonishi. Apologies for mispronunciations. Who are soul-sucking ones that are literally unkillable. I could blow the living heck out of these guys, and all that will happen is that they get back up again, kind of like me, but the only thing that can keep them down is a particular charm that you can stick to their forehead, which just renders them immobile. So one thing about Japanese undead is they're actually a bit more terrifying, because unlike Westerners who think that if you do the right spell, right combination, exorcism, shoot them in the head, that, you know, the undead are just another variety of kind of living, and therefore you can kill them. I'm just checking. Nope. Sometimes they howl Lord Nuggets here. Yeah. Dude's having a worse day than me. Any case. But as you can see, again, this area for the residential section is being encroached upon, the traditional, in fact, area about the urban density. And the urban density itself will... It's going to work. The urban density itself will eventually consume everything that's traditional and everything that is green. You can see it happening in real time. This is called, oh god. In the West, we, gentrification is what it's called, and basically everything gets kind of consumed by a developer and ends up looking exactly the same, to the point where I have to check the map if I want to make sure I know where to go. Because there's nothing unique enough to be able to... this way. Nothing unique enough to be able to give me any sort of directions. Just hang on, guys. I'll be out of your way soon. Okay, apparently you decided you didn't want to wait. I'm okay with that. Ah, we got lag. Not good. Sigh. Just getting some kills for the day. Alright, so that's done. Sigh. They don't die pretty. Alright, so, but let's come to probably going to be the most interesting interview of this one. The red light district, as it were, which is kind of more purple, really, and the Love Hotel. This section, of course, being dedicated to various arts of pleasure, including, of course, sex work. Probably quite a bit of it. And, of course, the Phoenicians, the guys in purple, now I'm remembering, are, of course, the ones who run this place, because if there's profit, the Phoenicians will, of course, make...
To the Love Hotel.
But the cure is that she is a well-designed persona. Now, we know she's trans. That's already been indicated by both Ricky Pagan and a couple of lore entries. But she's also kind of shaped herself to be the ultimate attendant to this place, kind of more like an extension of it. So, in fact, rather than me kind of saying more about it, let's just let her talk for herself.
I oversee the Love Hotel. Come rain, come tsunami, come the falling sky. I facilitate and mediate for all manner of clients. When you are a guest, I am the answer to all of your questions. Your desires are of more importance than any further details regarding me. Yes?
And that's pretty much what I just said right there. She has become an adjunct to the facility itself, as opposed to an independent persona, which makes me wonder if there's actually something supernatural going on here, if the Phoenicians have done something, or if she at some point has decided that her identity, you've given up her identity entirely.
I would much rather hear all about you. You are persistent.
Again, all part of the act.
My parents never spoke of it.
There we go.
I was never aware I was different until the other children noticed that day on the beach. Boys and girls can be cruel. I went into the water. I let the waves take me out. I woke up, washed ashore. They told me my father had swam out to find me. He never returned.
Yeah, that is probably due to the fact that it's her trans nature, that her peers as a child attacked her. She just attempted to suicide, but for whatever reason, failed. Drowning is usually a pretty significant way to do it, and her father apparently died trying to rescue her. Is this a delay, or is it supposed to be? We could be having delay issues. Hang on.
I suppose I'm still looking for that serenity I found when the water carried me away.
Ah, yes, which explained why her personality is so manufactured, as it were. A serenity within a role, within an act of service, being basically a function rather than an individual. Some people do have a persona, a personality that would fit into. Some other people are simply using it to hide.
I came to Tokyo as a teenager. All the lights. At night, it was like having fallen into the sky.
Yes, this happens. Most people who have a... let's see. The rural area is usually rough on people like her. And they almost always start gravitating towards the city, where if they can't find acceptance, at least they can find anonymity.
I worked odd jobs in love hotels. I found value in making myself indispensable. I performed my tasks. I exceeded expectations. I kept unobtrusive. That is when I learned to interact with a wide variety of people, to anticipate the needs of strangers and the strange.
Somewhat submissive personality. Basically, like I said before, finding her value in purpose.
These days, I do not venture outside during the day. But sometimes, I slip out at night to gaze upon the water and the reflected starlight. These nights, I carry a gun with me.
Not just the gun that can be protecting her, however. One of the things I'm wondering about her near-death experience there is whether or not she was chosen by a divine power in this world, because NDEs, if you don't know, near-death experiences often have a form of spiritual awakening, often by feeling contact with an entity. Now, it's quite possible this happened to her and she's forgotten it, because this is a Lovecraftian universe, and a lot of the entities can be, at the very least, terrifying, even if they aren't evil. If I recall, there is a god of the sea called, oh god, it's like shows up in one of Lovecraft's books, A Strange House in the High Hill. Strange Hill House, oh god. The Strange High House on the Hill, I think, where a guy actually experiences going with a Neptune-like entity that, like I said, for his name at the moment escapes me. When he returns, he's so radically is different, his family thinks he's literally a different person. It's kind of what happened to her in some way.
This is my place of work. My job title is all-encompassing. I follow the old lesson to be indispensable. The Love Hotel is a key base of operations for my employers of the Purple Flag. It is an access point to Tokyo, both to its over and underworld.
Yeah, that's the thing. Phoenicians are running this place, and I guarantee you, not just running it for the money, obviously, which is probably pretty good, but for the blackmail material, and for the ability to interact with both politicians, criminals, everybody else who comes here, and to conduct business in private rooms, because this is one place where discretion is always promoted.
Once a day, I take my weapon and sweep the building. My favorite room would have to be the captain's quarters. I wear the key at all times.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, she's also the security team. Great. We could at least afford a security guard.
I learned long ago to cater to odd company, to deal and disarm the regulars and rough rabble. My world has expanded since then. My clientele has become stranger, but really, not all that much stranger. Love hotels have always been a world of secrets.
Definitely true. But yeah, she's used to the magical crowd at this point. But again, it's probably the reputation of the Phoenicians that keeps her safe more than anything else. It's also, there must be wards in this building. That is the only way that this building has survived so far, is that the monsters cannot walk over the threshold, and she's smart enough to not do the reverse, obviously. Let me talk about the employers. Why are we being so, the purple flag, they're the Phoenicians, come on.
All of my life, acceptance was elusive. My employers accept my ability. They judge me solely on what I can accomplish. I do not have to satisfy any strict societal role. I must only succeed.
This is actually kind of interesting. It's something that's come up in other forms of fiction I've read, and it's actually a little bit in the real world, that essentially, due to the fact that the marginalized populations like trans, for example, are judged in society negative simply for existing, they gravitate towards organizations that step outside of the societies in order to be able to find a more acceptance, even if a neutral is more acceptance than negative acceptance, because I'm pretty sure the Phoenicians as a whole are not pro-trans, they just don't care as long as the money keeps rolling in. I got the delay going again.
I have heard stories of New Carthage, the floating city, the city of dreams. If I continue to satisfy my superiors, if I overcome my fear of the water, the Phoenicians will take me there someday.
Not sure you're going to find what you want. I mean, the thing is, Neil Gaiman said it best. To get something that you want is to have something you once wanted. I mean, there will be problems in that floating city. Obviously, there's going to be bad people. Hi, don't mind me. Get your room. There's going to be people who who obviously are anti-trans who work for the Phoenicians, and they will have no laws protecting her there. Now, I'm going to call it, by the way. I'm going to say she's been claimed by a goddess of the sea. Now, in a lot of indigenous lore and other forms of older style mysticism, people who are intersex, trans, or be able to access both sides of the gender equation, as it were, or gender flexible, depending on how you define it, have a higher capacity for magic because they already exceed or go beyond the bounds of what most people would consider to be, how do I put this? They already are liminal. They already transcend two different concepts in a single body. To transcend the spiritual and the physical is simply one more step. Hope I'm saying that right.
Imagine the floating Eden, away from all prejudice, where one will be valued for one's merits and not what lies beneath one's clothes. I will go there someday.
I'm sorry, sweetie. Utopia literally means nowhere.
They had some passing business with my employer. That is concluded.
Yeah, she's not going to talk about it. Oh boy.
I do not know. I do not want to know.
There you go. That's the point. For her quote-unquote acceptance, in other words, neutrality within this organization, she's willing to overlook any moral things they've done, including mass murder and dimensional breach and assault on one's own Earth Mother. Honestly, I don't know if the water's going to love you after this.
I had a brief stint with the Fear Nothing Foundation as a teenager. They helped me take steps in overcoming my fear of the water. I cannot dip my toes just yet, but I learned to cultivate a respect for all things oceanic, one step at a time.
Okay, so we have a lot of things explained right there. This is one of the reasons why your personality is so mellow. If you have been paying attention back in episode 100, and you got and along with the text I was reading there, what they do at the Fear Nothing is break down your personality into this sort of passive service mold more, and make you want to obey others. And she's gotten a small dose of it. Probably there's a lot of things going on behind that eyes that one day are going to surface and not be pretty.
I left Fear Nothing. People saying they want to set you free should not work so hard at possessing you. They look for youth with certain vulnerabilities. I was not as vulnerable as they suspected.
Yeah, she had enough steel to avoid being broken.
I know little of them. I do know they have had conflict with my employer. Venice strives to perpetuate a villainous reputation for the Phoenicians. Some of that may be true, but I believe you've had recent occasion to see that the Council's noble facade is not without blemish, and their organization not without treachery.
Two wrongs don't make a right, I hate to say. The thing is, yeah, okay, Arto is a bit of a manipulative con man slash user, but on the other hand, I think he actually doesn't want the world to fall apart. I think a lot of what he does is his desperate attempt to compromise his morals to create a scenario in which things like, I don't know, a gigantic bomb going off the middle of eldritch bomb going off the middle of a city. All right, so she's probably going to know much about John because remember he was on there one night. But let's see.
He was a guest here for a time. I think he took a fancy to me. Now he's something less and something more.
Okay. We might have an alternate reason besides wards. John may have told the Filth not to attack her. It's that simple. Remember, John does this for her, and he did that for... Oh, why is my brain not working well? We're rolling forward a bit here. The girl hacker that we ran into previous episodes. The he basically wants friends desperately, so keeps the Filth from it, and possibly even protects with the Filth the individuals that he has some sorry for it. But considering that we are on the opposite side of John, and we can't be killed, he doesn't extend us the same courtesy after all. Although I've heard there's an extension of more of John in the South African campaign when we get to that part. So let's see if there's any more to him than just, an incel with godlike powers.
I thought Ricky was different, but in the end, when he saw me, the real me, he turned away like all the rest.
Thing is, we actually talked to Ricky about that, and I hate to say it, but it was your willingness to work with murderous mercenaries, not your nature. Although that is part of your nature.
Goodbye.
Yes. Goodbye. This is what they sell here, obviously, which, you know, is a good thing as long as they're good quality, because sexual disease transmission is something we want to prevent, as well as unwanted pregnancies. Okay, so yeah. Each room's going to have a theme, and the Love Hotel is it's not that unusual. I will not speak to any experience to that. But yeah, some of them, for example, appeal to a child fetish, as it were. That's always... And we're only going to see a couple in here. This one's got the blow-up dolls. Now, child fetish does not mean, by the way, they want to have sex with children. In this regard, it actually means they want to be a child in fantasy roleplay. And some people do that, I think. I'm not actually a licensed psychologist, so I can't tell you. Because of something about their own childhood that they want, that was missing, and they replay it. I mean, there has... Oh, gods, the controls are going wonky, hopefully. Hopefully we'll be able to do this. Hang on. I may have to reboot. Okay, I think we got this going again. And for some reason, by the way, there was a huge monster growl when I was sitting there. When I just booted back in, and I don't know if that's supposed to be there or there's a really strange room we're not allowed access to. Okay, but the last one we have access to... Okay, probably looks like leather to me, but with a furry motif. Yeah. Of course they would cater to furries. Oh, and over here, this is probably the vanilla one. Hey, you know, everybody's got a kink, and some of those kinks are just... wanting to have a relationship with somebody you're not supposed to, even if it doesn't have any particular flavor to it. Again, no shame, just, you know, people have different tastes. Frankly, in my opinion, this is not the sort of thing that people should have to hide. As long as you do one or more consenting adults, it's pretty much your own business. Consenting sane adults, but then we are into the idea of what sane is, and I am probably the last person to comment on that. Anyways, but as you can see, we're moving over onto what I call the mall district. Oh god. This section, which is dedicated towards commerce in all of its, you know, various manifestations. Although I swear to you, this one is a homeless camp. Hard to tell. I guess I'm just getting used to... Oh, no, it's vendors. I'm just getting so used to seeing this sort of thing being associated with the homeless and... Excuse me. With tarps and such being associated with homeless camps these days are becoming more common across the world. Ugh, just showing me being pessimistic. As you can see, it just basically comes off this huge district, which is little more than a gigantic mall that just takes up this entire sector. Guys, not interested. Oy. But, as you can see down here at the plaza...
Assignment received. Initializing.
Sigh. This is where things end at the wall. Now, the wall itself is a failed attempt to try to contain this, because, people say walls work, you know, trying to control access and such, especially they're talking about, say, the insanity of trying to place a wall with over 1,000 miles and be able to patrol it. And it doesn't. Walls are a static barrier that can easily be overcome, destroyed, or subverted. Of course, the people mining the wall are going to be fallible, or things going crazy. Or it's going to be, you know, the fact that you can simply bribe a person to let you into the wall. I mean, the Great Wall of China was a failure. The Huns got in. And all those millions of man-hours and such that were put into it, all the equipment, all the stone, all of the planning development, I'm sure somebody, you know, was getting kickbacks in that one, did worthless. You could have done that. You could have taken all that effort and just made an army capable of handling the Huns. But here we are at the last section before the deal with what's beyond the wall. And that's going to be the Oriochi Hospital Plaza. Now, we've already had a bunch of episodes.
Authorized.
Guys, knock it off.
You are not authorized.
Additional assignment received. Initializing.
Guys, you gotta do this? No, thank you. Anyways, as you can see, the International Hospital District, where essentially the entire area is given over to a for-profit hospital, which, of course, as we know, is doing human experimentation in the basement. That's where these cyborgs came from. Again, cyborgs, which means, you know, involuntary organic components. Now, the good thing about...
is authorized. Please be still.
Oh, go away. As you can see, again, the tanks were utterly useless here. Dude. Must we?
Lethal force is authorized. Please be still.
Infected drone there. How cute. Oh, wait, it's
You
the
are
flesh
not
that's infected.
authorized. You are not authorized.
Hey, if you really want to mess people's heads up, one day post a sign that says unauthorized personnel only. Any case, as you can see, the military attempt to hold the hospital was useless as it is within a civilian district. Completely indefensible. Every city in the world, unless it has been built along the standards of a freaking European, on the ruins of a freaking European fortress, as it were, during the time, is hopeless. That's one of the reasons I said earlier at the beginning of this, is that you do not want to ever fight a battle in a city. It's impossible to hold, and it's impossible to take. It literally is just nothing more than acres upon acres of territory that's rough, uneven, and not suited to defense or offense. It's mostly why places during major wars will just simply stomp the place flat, rather than try to take it. Anyways, and we have come back to the main district, as it were. Hero Point, where we all began so long ago. Oh god, let me deal with my fan club. At least my coat's okay. But yeah, this is pretty much Kaiden, as it were. Oh, wow. Dawn comes quickly around here. Anyways, so yes, we've basically gone over essentially the sections that were near the initial bomb blast. Now, if you check the map, by the way, you're going to notice there's an entire section down here on the other side of the wall. We'll cover that in the next interlude. And it'll include both, Hama and... not the Nod Cadaver. Where? Oh, there he is. And Jung, as well as the sections over here by the Oriachi Dock, where all of this kind of started. In any case, I hope you enjoyed this little pass through Kaiden. But like I said, like, share, subscribe if you really did like it. Down below are links to the Gumroad payment platform. Put the camera here, which is kind of good. We have the tank in the back. And of course, we were doing these Bradley Girl unlocks. This is of course, was an unlocked episode from reaching the, God, what is it now? That was, I think, all the way back in 525. We have another one that was unlocked at 575. We passed 625 some back ago. The next one will be 675. Now, if we have a whole bunch of them put together, I'll probably just save them all up and do the African campaign when we get to a critical amount. As it is right now, we still have one more bonus episode before that was based on, because we have one more bonus episode that's connected to this couplet, then there'll be two more after that. Now, if for some reason by that point we've probably unlocked another set of episodes, I'll probably begin adding those towards the African campaign after we complete Lust from Beyond, which is one after that. And of course, if you are also one of those ones doing the Cultist Simulator episodes, let you know that we're only 6 away from the next unlock, which will be a Lore and Legends episode, the Grimoire, which will go over all rites and rituals. Ooh. In any case, it's Fantastic World, saying farewell from Lovecraft Country, and I will see you next time.
You will see the dawning of a new age. To be a monarch or a beggar. To lose everything or to become a god. To stand with us or against us. The choice is yours.